Hi, I'm Gary Jacobs. Welcome to another edition of Long Island Backstory. My guest today is Kirk Cronk from the Long Island chapter of the Boys and Girls Club of America. Kirk, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much,
And you're going to
Gary.
tell us everything we need to know about the Boys and Girls Club of America, which I've heard of. I know it's been around for, I think, the Long Island chapter. You said over 30 years.
About 30 years,
You're the
yes.
executive director, so we're going to the right person. Tell us about the Boys and Girls Club of America for the people who
Okay.
don't know.
Well, we've got a lot of different things going on, at different locations. Some of the centers are fairly large, with gymnasiums, computer rooms. Others have more athletic fields. Our center in Port Jefferson has 5 athletic fields, computer room, rooms to come do your homework. We're not a babysitting service. When kids come there, they can expect to get help with homework, also learn different things. We're very, very excited about our programs because of the learning aspect. And we had our gala recently, and we honored David Cologne, who's a very well-known entrepreneur,
Right.
and especially in the technology and innovation area. And I gave a speech, and I brought out a hammer, which I brought handy with me, okay, to make a point. And so what's a hammer? It's a tool, right?
Right.
Right? And this is just the Stanley Hickory 51616 model. Okay. Well, when anthropologists and archaeologists go to find out how advanced the civilization is, what do? Well, the people are gone, right?
Right.
So what do? They look for the tools. So what kind of tools are these people using? So what if they had, depending on what level of tools they had, depends on what they could do.
Right.
What they could manufacture and create. So that applies to us today. One of the biggest tool today is the computer,
Right.
right? And that can be a wonderful tool, but it can also hinder us in ways too, if we don't know how to use it. I spent some time as the Director of Business Services at the Suffolk County Department of Labor. And I'll give you 2 instances of computers from the high perspective and the low perspective where it was a problem. Company out in Riverhead was trying to find a computer program offering a 6-figure salary and could not find a taker. Now this is very important because manufacturing, and there are 3,300 manufacturers on Long Island, people don't realize that, but it's mostly utilizing high-tech machines.
Okay.
So if the company can't find somebody to program the machines, they're out of luck.
And if you can't find somebody here on Long Island, where can you find
Right?
somebody?
On the low end, I had a job fair where Macy's came in, they were hiring people, and there were some people who wanted jobs working in like the welfare, the warehouse.
Oh, okay.
The warehouse, and doing stock work.
Which even there you need
And
a
then
computer.
these people were, perfectly capable of moving boxes and that type of thing. And if you'd given them a pen and a piece of paper, they could have filled out the application. But Macy's takes the applications online. We even had a computer there, but they did not know how to fill out the application online.
Okay.
They did not know that simple.
Maybe they didn't have a computer at home. if
Right,
You don't grow up with
right,
one.
or didn't spend time doing that kind of thing.
Right.
So here, in both cases, in one case it hurt the business because the business couldn't find the people. In the other case, it hurt the people because the people couldn't make themselves accessible
Right.
to the business. So learning computers is very, very important. And we know kids are using computers, but that doesn't mean that they really know how to use it the way they need to know it.
Well, they certainly know how to play games.
That's right. The people have been playing
You know how to
games
do
on
Facebook?
computers since I think that was the easiest thing people could do on computers going back, was put a load of game on it
Right.
and play it. So we've got classes now in computer coding.
Okay.
So in order to
Which is something they don't teach in school, do they?
very rarely,
Okay.
very rarely. Matter of fact, there was some people who say instead of teaching cursive writing, you should teach them coding.
Okay.
Because not too many people do script. I mean, you don't even fill out that many checks these
Right.
days.
And by the time the kids get older in school today, they won't be checks.
No, there'll be a card that they'll wave at something and it'll be scanned.
Right.
So we've got this coding program, which is it shows you some of the things that we're doing. I'm going to put the hammer down before I hurt myself or you.
So let me.
It's
So
good center.
you have one center in Port Jeff. Is there other centers in Suffolk County?
Yes, there is. There's an excellent center down in Bellport.
Okay.
They have an excellent center down there with a beautiful building down there. It's very close to Montauk Highway down there, just about a block north. You could look it up and Google it. But the excellent center down there, there's a gymnasium, full gymnasium, computer room. They even are partnering with a theater troupe down there. So there's actually a theater in the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay. So who pays for these beautiful buildings and theaters and gyms? Who paid for these buildings?
Well, good-hearted people.
So it's a nonprofit?
It's a not-for-profit, that's right.
Okay.
So we get different sponsors and that type of thing. One of the things I'm doing right now is we have summer camp coming up, so I'm soliciting contributions from people to help children who don't have the money, whose parents don't have the money, go to camp.
Right.
You know, I'm saying send a kid to camp even if you don't have one.
So there's no government subsidies for this?
There's very limited. Suffolk County, through the Youth Bureau, provides money to Brookhaven Town, which provides some money to us for some of our programs in certain specific geographic areas, but it doesn't provide for overall. It helps us provide for after-school programs in the Three Village area, where after school, instead of going home, they can go to the library and say the Jolinas Middle School, and there's 30 computers in there, and we have people in there to help them with their homework and any problems along those lines.
So Boys and Girls Club is not for what we would call troubled kids. This is for anybody, or
Well,
is it?
yeah, you can, it could be somebody who may have a certain level of trouble, whether it could be school or some behavioral things, because we try and, we have a great program director named Dan O'Brien, and I want to just mention his name because he deserves to be mentioned, who works with a lot of kids, and some of them have minor problems, some of them have more serious problems. Sometimes what he does is he gives responsibility to the problem child.
Right.
And when you trust them like that, they respond to it. And they become responsible individuals because they don't want people to do to them what they've done to other people. So you're going to treat me with respect, right? And so there's ways of doing that. We've also down in Bellport, they've now partnered with Family Service League, which can provide help for families that have problems, economic, housing, all these type of things. I met with Family Service League head Karen Borstein
Now, what
today.
is
Family Service League? They're a not-for-profit, and they help families with the various problems, housing problems.
Financially.
Trying to help them find housing.
Because a lot of these people don't seem to know what the resources are and where to go.
They don't know. You need help.
I mean, if you don't have a computer these days, you're stuck.
That's right. And
Where do you
even
go?
if you do, there's so many websites. If I need X, where do I find the help for X? Family Service League will say, okay, you need this help. This is the person we're going to call.
They'll pull it all together.
And they pull it all together. They have the knowledge, to get it done. So they know how to use the tools, again, which is what it's all about. The tool can be there. The hammer is a good illustration because it's so basic a tool that you could give it to almost to any toddler, and the toddler grab it by the handle and knows that it's to hit something with, right? But computers and the information in there, there's so much of it that you're never going to know everything, but you need to find out what it is that you need to know.
Right. You don't know what you don't know.
That's it. And so organizations like Boys and Girls Club and Family Service League, we help people find those things out.
So what age do the kids start coming in?
Oh, they're early.
Sometimes you do 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds?
Yeah, but mostly our after-school stuff is, of course, from age 6 to about 16.
Okay. And is this for parents who right now on Long Island with our ridiculous taxes, we're not telling anybody, that's another whole show, but with our high taxes, a lot of times both parents have to work. Mm-hmm. So is this so that these kids don't go home to the empty house and,
well, like I say,
in trouble? Or
well, that's an important factor, but what they're doing with that time is just as important.
Right.
So when they come in there, first thing we'll ask them is, do you have homework?
Right.
And we'll get them to sit down
and
do their homework.
And who helps them do the homework? Are somebody helping them, or are you just getting them to do it?
No, we have counselors that work with the children, who usually they're a lot of them are college students.
Parents must love your program.
So,
to come home from a day of
We're-
work and then have to start pounding the kids to do their 2 or 3 hours worth of homework.
That's right. You know,
I mean,
this
that's
this
no
way,
fun.
this way, when they get done with the day, the kid's done with his.
And they
her
can, well,
work
they
day.
can enjoy their time with,
That's right.
with their child, because
You
right
know.
now kids are just so overworked, and now with Common Core, I mean, they're just getting pounded and pounded
Oh,
and pounded.
yeah.
And if you're not this top, echelon student, I mean, it's just you're home after a long day, and then you're fighting with your parents all night about your homework.
Right.
So
right.
I would imagine this is just a blessing
Yes,
for a
they-
lot of people.
They are very happy about it, and we often, if they're not coming by bus, because a lot of students, the bus will take
So
them
the
from
school will bus them directly to you?
to us. Yeah, over in Compsogwog, they're doing that.
Right.
But if they need to be picked up later, we usually have extended hours till 6, 7 o'clock. The center down in Bellport is often open, I think, till about 9 in the
Okay.
evening. So that's great,
Right, right.
So,
Give us an idea of the cost. How much does something like this cost just in around for an after-school program? Because I know a lot of
Right.
these programs that people have, they're just so expensive that almost nobody can afford it.
right. Well, down at the center in Port Jeff, I believe the rate for new kids coming in is about $120 a month.
A month.
A month.
Uh-huh. So I mean, still 120 is a lot of money, but for what you're getting, that's
Right, a lot of
per
places,
hour. That's
a lot
very
of,
cheap.
lot of places will charge you that for a week.
Right.
am I
Well, that's
right?
what I was thinking.
Right, but we're not for profit,
You were
so
going to tell me that
so-
that it's per week.
yeah, no, it's per month.
Okay, so
it's
when the kids
it's a
go
good
there,
deal.
so you talk about this computer, so you have computers. If somebody just wants to go there because their parents work
Mm-hmm.
and they say, I'm going to send my kids there, can they have downtime, or is this an extension of school?
It's not a strict extension of school, but we like to try and encourage them to be doing something positive. you
Right,
know.
right.
I mean, if they,
Well, you mentioned you have a gym, so I'm assuming they can play.
yeah, I'm assuming we'll have activities that way. Of course, we have a great summer camp program too that has extended days.
Right.
You know, they can let the kid off at 8 o'clock in the morning and pick them up at 6 at night if they
Right.
have to, which is great for working
Well, I
parents.
say they have to. That's if
Yeah.
you work in New York City,
Yeah.
or
And-
in
and
Nassau
like I
County,
say-
even. You'd have to.
Yeah,
you'd have
there's
to do
full
that.
page, full
It's a
day
full
program.
day.
Some camps are only partial days, and it's like crazy. I mean,
Right.
And you can go for a day, you can go for a week. And like I said, I'm trying to raise money so that we can offer some scholarships for people that don't have money. I was able to do something. I should say we, the organization, recently. Disney reopened their store in the Smith Haven Mall.
Okay.
And they got in touch with us and they said, we'd like 10 of your kids to come down and open the store for us. And so there was a homeless shelter up the road. And so we got 6 of the children from there and 4 of our children. And we showed up at the Disney store that Saturday morning at 8:30. They got their $50 gift cards and they had their 1-hour shopping spree. Then they got their pictures taken with Donald and Daisy Duck.
Right.
And one of the children was chosen to open the door to the store with a magic key, a big key like this, because there was 1,000 kids waiting outside at 10 o'clock.
Right.
So
That's
this was
nice.
a great experience. Family Service League sent me a thank you letter, and one of the children also wrote a thank you letter, which was just great. It's good to be able to do things, and that's why I like to partner with organizations. Years ago, I was a committee chairman with the Boy Scouts, and back in Lindenhurst, Troop 60. So they'll be happy for the mention of Troop 60. And a gentleman who owned a funeral parlor came to me and he said, we're paying $25 to a company to send these little trees to the families of the deceased. He said, could we pay you that and have a scout deliver it?
All right.
So I said, yes, we'll do that. We'll not only, the scout will deliver it in uniform, and if they want, we'll plant it for the people. What we were able to do also was we got the nursery stock from a group of disabled people who were selling surplus nursery stock.
Okay.
So we put together a thing where now we're helping the funeral director, a group of disabled people, helping raise money for the scouts, and
That's
and
a
helping
win-win
us-
all around.
Win-win all. When you bring this kind of thing together, it creates a synergy that's just good all around.
Well, I think maybe part of it because you're a nonprofit, you're not competing per se with them. You don't feel threatened by these other organizations. You're looking at them as
Well, we have
as
to compete with the
partners.
other nonprofits for money too.
Okay,
but-
well, you're competing for money, but as far as for the students, I guess they're not students. What are they? Participants in the program.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does this differ from like a Boy Scouts or a Girl Scouts of America?
Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, they'll meet once a week and have their troop meeting for a couple of hours, and then they'll have whatever projects there are. This is Monday through Friday.
So are parents involved in this at all, or is it?
There are some that do some voluntary help, but usually it's us and the kids, and it's just a great program, and I enjoy it every day. Somebody asked me what my hours were. I just took over at the end of March. I said 24/7, but it's a good 24/7. It's one that you can smile and feel good about.
So you look for corporations to.
We're looking for corporations, unions, individuals, who feel moved to
I guess
contribute.
people who are in the program hopefully become successful.
So looking for new board members, to bring new energy.
So if somebody wants to get involved, there's a bunch of things they can do.
Absolutely.
Of course, you'll always take money, so that's number one. And we're going to have the numbers on the bottom of the screen if anybody wants to go to your website and feels that they want to learn more or make a donation, or they can. So you deal with volunteers. Not everybody's a paid employee. Somebody can volunteer to.
They can. Generally, because of the hours, it's paid. But we do have some people who are volunteers also. And with the pay that we give the people, I almost consider it volunteer work.
They have to do it because they love it.
Yeah, they're doing it for the love, not for the money. That's for sure. But they do love the work, and a lot of them are young people that are looking to get into teaching or social work or something like that. So it's for them, it's a learning process, part of their learning and growth as an individual. So they're getting more out of it than money.
And Kirk, when we spoke, your big thing was you said, I want to focus on the technology. And as you said, the tools are the main thing. And right now, it's computer, especially here on Long Island. This is what we're doing. It's going to be technology.
That's right.
What else are you training the kids to do as far as technology? Now, are you sort of setting them up to get a career in technology, or is it just to keep their head above water so that they can function in society? What is the goal? I'm not really clear on that.
Well, for one thing, it's to give them exposure to it so that they kind of make up their own mind on that.
Right.
You don't want to tell a kid, hey, you're going to be a computer coder.
Right. Well, you have to want to do that.
But if the kid doesn't have an idea what it is, how are they going to make up their mind?
Right.
So we're exposing kids to it, and especially girls. More boys have leaned toward it than girls, and I think it's because the girls haven't had the exposure to it. And there are jobs out there, and it's the computer doesn't know whether it's a man or a woman typing on those keys.
Right.
And
what about college prep? Do you help the kids? You go up to was the high end?
Basically, it tops out as you're getting into high school.
High school. Okay.
But we put together different programs on different things. But we also have some things going for the adults. Recently, we hosted a session from the town of Brookhaven. They came in and talked about drug and alcohol abuse. And that was something that we advertised out to parents.
Right.
So those kind of things, it's all part of it. You can't take care of the kid alone without keeping in mind that he's part of a family.
Right. So you're really part of the community.
That's right.
That's the main thing. And you're working with the schools and everybody else. So what else? Somebody asked you, hey, what do you want to get across about the Boys and Girls Club of America? What is it that you want us to know? We know about the technology, that you have the summer camp program, which is fantastic, and we'll put the information up on the site. It sounds like it's affordable. I think a lot of times people say, I can't send my kids to a summer camp. It's going to cost me, $8,000. I don't have that kind of money.
Right.
And just because they don't have it, their child ends up sitting at home. You got brain drain. God knows what trouble they can get into sitting home because we've had other guests on. So look, you got to keep your kids busy. So this keeps them busy, and it's way more reasonable than I think.
You want to give them, direction and something good to do.
Right.
And if you do that, they'll gravitate that way. It's when they have no direction at all that bad things can come into their lives.
Right.
There's a gap. Good things will fill the gap, or bad things will.
Right.
So you've got to fill that gap. We try and fill that gap.
Right.
And that's our mission, to put good things in that gap so that they'll make good decisions.
Now, what about kids who are having problems with truancy and behavioral issues? Do you help with that? Do you take those kids, or or do you not deal with that?
We'll take the kids. Everybody has to follow certain rules.
Everybody
okay?
meaning the kids,
all the children, right,
okay.
right. Well, the adults have to follow certain rules too.
Right. But a big problem is that especially for the middle school kids, is I think getting them to school and getting them to bed at night, that these kids are so tired. And I'm wondering, now you're going to get them to go to a program after?
Well, it's right down the hall from their class.
Right.
So it's, it's for example.
But would they consider it fun?
Yes, because we try and make certain programs that are fun. I was over at the Bellport facility, and they actually have a zombies night.
Okay, which is what?
Well, I guess they get together and they have somebody talk about zombies,
Okay.
how to protect
But
the
it's
world
interesting.
against zombies.
Okay, but that's what they find interesting.
They find it interesting. But,
Right.
in that you can work all kinds of things and technology and all kinds of other knowledge.
So these kids wouldn't consider this. If I asked one of the kids, they wouldn't consider it a punishment.
No.
This is a fun thing that.
Yes, it's and it's voluntary. Nobody's going into that library that doesn't want to.
Right, right.
So-
But sometimes I think they need the push. Maybe they need the push.
And encouragement. If I find the best leaders of young people are other leaders.
Right.
My son became an Eagle Scout not because I said you got to become an Eagle Scout or it's a great thing, but because the boy across the street wanted to become an Eagle Scout and was
Right.
working toward it, and that boy was my son's inspiration.
Right.
So if you have good programs and kids get excited about it, they're going to tell other kids. They'll be the best salesmen we have.
Right. That's what you, so they'll be the recruiters for your program.
Exactly.
And for the summer program, is there field trips or is it all?
Oh yeah,
within
there's
the-
at least a field trip every week.
Oh, okay.
You're going to. I know they were planning a trip to Shea Stadium. There's
Okay.
another trip, I think, to a museum, or there's always, that's one of the highlights of the week.
Right. Well,
That
that's
and
great.
on Fridays we try and do something special with the luncheon.
Right.
I had a talk with Mo's Southwest. They're going to help cater it one day, so they'll have a Southwest.
Kids love Mo's these days.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kirk, thank you very much
Okay.
for coming today. I appreciate it. I learned a lot. Coming into this, I read your bio, and I really didn't know much about the program, but now I know about it. Our viewers know, and I think you offer a great service, and I hope you continue to do it, continue to grow. Hopefully, you'll have plans to go into Western Nassau County. Any plans for that?
Well, if we get ourselves more established where we are, then we'll take the next step.
Great, thanks
Because
so
their
much.
kids need it.
Right,
Thank
right.
you again very
And
much.
Again, thank you. And one of the things I wanted to mention here on Long Island Backstory is our crew is volunteer. And the first person I wanted to introduce today, because he's always behind the camera, is from Bayshore. We have Don Caulfield on camera number 1. And Don does our sound, helps with the set, and he's here every week. Thanks, Don. Give us a wave so we can see you look very serious today.
Hey.
And on camera number 3, we have Phil Antonucci. Phil is from Smithtown, and Phil's actually has a degree in filming and TV production. So Phil's a great asset to the show as well. Also helps with the production, and I couldn't do it without the help of these two. And in the camera room, who we can see, we have Andy Hersman. So again, I'd like to thank the two of you and thank everybody for watching Long Island Backstory, where we show stories here that aren't covered by the traditional mainstream media out there. And a story like the Boys and Girls Club of America, we really need to get this information out, and this is where you can see it. So thank you for tuning in. I'm Gary Jacobs, and we'll see you next week.
springtime in the forest of the black-tailed deer. The young male is feeling playful. It's time for tag. The female flicks her ears. Her way of saying, "Catch me if you can,"